All right, cool. I think it's recording now. So, good morning, everyone. Um, these are trying times for many different reasons, and I think for our hierarchy, the game really, the kickoff already started. I think last year, and as individuals, as part of your RVP teams, and as part of Shaq's hierarchy, there is I think a premise that everybody needs to start stepping up, man, and that especially includes the brokers, the RVPs. Like Tanya, myself, T and Shay, Jen Leah. To me, I see her as an RVP. Shondell, Josh, right? So, what I want to talk about today is really relevant to how to close out. Really the leadership. It's really what this is about ultimately. And, we're going to be discussing that. There's a one common denominator. I love sports. You guys are aware of that. There is one common denominator in sports that you're always going to hear. I think every sport, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, baseball, golf, tennis, right? And that is the follow through, right? In every sport, there's something called the follow through. I know in basketball, that is the manner in which you shoot the ball and continuously do it, right? In tennis, same thing, the follow through. In track, the follow through is pushing to the very end. And there is no difference in business. There's no difference in what we do here. So with that in mind, I want to kind of really have a goal of how to start thinking, the mentality behind doing that, and how to accomplish it here. So let me bring up the slides. Running through the finish line, right? 10 days left in the month. And a lot of times during this time, we kind of start, we all have goals. We all had things we wanted to accomplish at the beginning of the month, especially if you had a good January, you felt good about yourself and what was going to happen this month. And for whatever reason, one reason or other, distractions, whatever it is, we're probably not there. We probably haven't even come close to half of our goals, right? A tenth of our goals. So the question is, how do you respond to that? Now look, we don't have 3 to 4 days left. We have 10 days left. That's a lot of freaking time. You can beat your January for most of you in the next 10 days. It's all going to be based on how you see it, how you view it. So, here's some things, when I was putting this together that came to mind that I was thinking about. Because look, to be honest, I'm going to be candid here and transparent. I'm nervous, man. I know our team is way behind, and I am nervous as to where we are and what do we need to do, going forward. So here's some things that kind of came to my mind as I was putting this together. The first thing, man, aren't you tired of not following through in different aspects of your life? Whether it's health, marriage, family, getting that new home, maybe that new car, careers, goals. I know Tanya and I have talked about buying a new house for the kids. I'm tired of not following through, man. I'm tired of not hitting our goals, accomplishing where we need to be at, right? What was your goal in the beginning? Are you close to it? Have you given up on it? Maybe have you reduced it? I was going to do 10 by 10, but, seeing that I'm only at 1 by 1, I might have to cut that in half, right? Do you care about it? Will you hit it? Right? These are questions you really gotta today, not tomorrow. You can't do it yesterday, but today you gotta really be honest with yourself about. And it's not just about you, right? Who depends on me in following through? Teammates, right? And sometimes it's maybe not your upline, but your teammates, your contemporaries, right? That depend on it. I know for us, how important it is for Shaq to get to the next level, right? Your leadership team. I know for Jamalee and Donald, Shay, and of course, Jen Lee and Shondell and Josh, right? How about your parents? How about your spouse? Your kids, if you have kids, right? You got to remember, not following through on different parts of your life and this business also, affects everybody else. Does it affect you? Make no mistake about it. Absolutely, it affects you. There is something to be said about the habits you're building. You know, the brain is broken up into two parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. I was reading about this years ago, and I remembered about it. And if you think of it like this, the conscious and the non-conscious, the brain mass, as it pertains to the conscious mind, encompasses 17%, non-conscious mind, 83%. The speed of impulse, right? How quickly you react to something consciously is about 100 to 120 to 140 miles per hour. Subconsciously, over 100,000 miles per hour. What are some things you do subconsciously? Breathing. So the speed at which you actually breathe or the process in which it takes is about 100,000 miles per hour. Why? Because you're not thinking about it. It happens automatically, right? The control of perception and behavior. Listen to this, Gemily. The control of perception and behaviors consciously is about 2 to 4%. Subconsciously, 96 to 98%. Time, past and future, right? Consciously is always past and future. Non-conscious is now. What are your habits right now? Memory horizon, up to 20 seconds. Subconsciously, forever, because it's embedded in you. So if you don't start building the proper habits, that will affect you going forward. You know, have you ever, you know, like right now, I have butterflies. I know Tanya feels the same way, right? Where we like, man, we set this major goal. We had a good January, and it's just we're not even close to where we're supposed to be to even hit our goal. But guess what? How are we going to respond to it? You know, Shaq said yesterday, you know, something, you know, if you had a good January and you do bad in February, you had a mental lapse. I can't let that happen, man. That just cannot happen. No, so what are we going to do going forward? Right? Let's talk first about the mentality. And I got this, you know, Shay has a great training on the YouTube channel on month end and closing out the month. And this was at the end of November, right? And it was good for me, man. I needed to listen to that. And she amped me up. You know, and I was excited, and I took some of the information she had from right there, man. So go back to that. It's the end of November in 2020. She has a great training on it, and it's something we need to figure out and use today. And she talks about begin with the month end in mind. Start from the beginning, right? Hey, you have 10 days left. The beauty of Primerica, it doesn't require you to do work all month. Somebody said a long time ago, to have a good month, you need 2 good weeks in Primerica. To have a good week, you need about 3 to 4 good days. To have a good day, you need about 3 to 4 good hours. It doesn't take a lot, man. People think you come here and because we have a perception of the job where it's 8 hours, 10 hours a day, right? To make our how we get paid, whether a salary or an hourly wage, that we think we need to use that here. That's not true, man. In Primerica, you know, hey, Samir had what? 3 good hours, probably 2, and made $40-something thousand. That's Primerica, man. That 3 to 4 hours is some people's whole year in Primerica in income. So it doesn't take a lot here. Don't get confused by that, right? Here's the other thing. Forget what you've done so far this month, Donald. And I don't know what your numbers are right now, but forget what you've done. Who cares? Doesn't matter whether you did well, whether you did bad. You know, I tell my boys all the time, I coach them in football. And at halftime, I don't care what the score is always 0-0. Why? If we're up 21-0, it's 0-0. If we're down 21-0, it's still 0-0. You got to start now, right? Forget what you have done in the month so far. It's irrelevant. It's over. Don't over exaggerate it. Realize, right, that it's not just about you. You have, you know, I always say to people, is the team better because you're here? Or the team have to be better because you're here? Whose flag are you carrying? Primerica, make no mistake about it, is a team sport. It isn't a one, just about you. It isn't an individual sport. It's a team sport, right? Whose flag are you carrying? I know, for Shaq, part of what we try to do now is ensure that he's maximizing on every bonus that there is, right? Because at SVP, NSD, and SNSD, part of what helps you in the bonus is what are you doing through first? What is your first generation RVP, second generation RVPs, and third generation RVPs doing? Right? We're carrying his flag. He's our leader. And we have to start. I listened this past week to Shay and Jen Lee's training on this past week. What did they do? Skipping my mind. And Shay was talking about Eric Davis and how he, with the same amount of teammates and people showing up that Shaq has, he's at 1 million. Now, what are we doing? Right? That you got to take personal. But never think also that your contribution is too small. You get a lot of teammates who come in here and they part-time and, their focus is not, maybe they don't want to become an RVP. Maybe they want to just make 500 to 1,000 a month. Guess what, man? That's awesome. If that is your goal, your contribution is never too small. Every bit counts. Always remember that. Here's some of the do's. Have an expectation of yourself at month end. Don't give up just yet, right? You want to lead here, have an expectation, right? You first start leading. The hardest person to lead is yourself. And you have to expect for you to hit your goals. You have to expect for you to do well here. You have to expect for you to make money. Work with a sense of urgency. One of my favorite quotes ever was from Mike Tyson. Throw every punch with murderous intent. Empty the clip, as Shaq used to say. Right? Shay, close too often and too soon. I love that, man. Close too often and too soon. Work with a sense of urgency. Take pride in lighting up the Telegram thread. That's something I have to do a much better job on. Right? Our team in general. Right? When people are scoring, right? That's kind of the score right there. That's the scoreboard, the Telegram. Right? You got to see your name on there all the time. Those are you making shots and scoring shots. Take pride in that. Run a tight schedule, right? The season or the game has shortened to the next 10 days. Run it tight. Run it, don't push, don't push off follow-up meetings, right? You do an appointment today. If you have to follow it up, do it tomorrow, right? We did an appointment yesterday. I had a couple of appointments yesterday. Today we're closing them. Don't let too much time in. And by the way, when you're dealing with clients in that regard, or you're dealing with an appointment, almost have an expectation when you're talking to them. Lift them up. Lift their spirits. Man, I'm so excited. We're going to make such an impact for you. Man, I can't wait to see. When is your next day, by the way? What days are you normally off? He told me yesterday I'm off Fridays and Saturdays. Boom. I'm not waiting till next Friday. No chance. We're catching up tomorrow. Hey, listen, perfect. I just looked at my schedule. I actually have an opening at this time, from this time to this time. Does that work for you? And the person that I did the appointment with, Mrs. Elliott, right? Her birthday she's having a Zoom birthday party today at 7. And they know her very well. And she said, yeah, I have a birthday party. And so the appointment was set up for about 4. And I said, that's right. I'm going to be on it. I'm so excited for it. Thank God this is Zoom. You don't have to do much and go anywhere. Why don't we set it up for 1 o'clock to give Mrs. Elliott enough time? Okay, I guess that will work. Have the expectation, create that urgency. right? If you push it back, trust me, they're thinking that. And by the way, why wait? Especially when it comes to life insurance, especially when it comes to doing this business and getting it going here. Why are you pushing it back? You know, I could tell you a quick story. Tanya and I had an appointment years ago. This is maybe 3 or 4 years ago. We sat down with a young lady, a single mom of 2 girls. At the time, they were, I think, 14 and like 5 or 6. And we sat down, did an appointment. We took care of everything. We got the application. And for about a couple of weeks, you know, we followed up that week about making sure she does her blood work, everything. We didn't hear from her. Followed up again. For a whole month, we were following up and no answer, right? It's almost like, man, what happened? I had an appointment in the area at the time, and I said, you know what, let me go see her. I knocked on her door. She opens up. And I said, hey, how are you? You know, I was in the area. I wanted to stop by. I know we left a few messages. I hope I'm not, interrupting anything like that. She invited me in. We started talking. Jamalee, she was diagnosed with cancer a week before. We were a week too late in protecting her. Don't wait, man. Don't wait. There's no reason for that. Close it today. Have a sense of urgency. It is for their benefit also. The moment you protect them, the moment you submit the application, they are covered. And what we felt even bad, you know, this lady, we went to see her again a year after, and just to happen to go see her, her daughter had a baby. So not only was she going through chemo and struggling, now her daughter, who's a baby, had a baby. And we couldn't protect it because we were late. Don't ever take too long. Take it. If you can get the application now, do it now. Don't push it off. Stay in your warm market. Stay in your teammates' warm market, right? That's a good way to get moving fast, to close fast, right? Those are the ones, you know, warm markets are the ones you can usually not have to worry about the procrastination that comes with it, right? Now, here's some things, you know, we leave this far sometimes. You know, I read a book at the beginning of this year called from John Maxwell, Today Matters. And he talks about how we tend to over-exaggerate yesterday. We dwell on it. We think about it. And by the way, there's nothing you can do about it. We overestimate tomorrow, and that's me. That's my life. I always tell Tanya, hey, babe, man, don't worry, man. We got this. We got it. Don't worry about it. It's tomorrow. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And tomorrow comes, and nothing is still done. The truth is this. Today is all you have. Today is all you can control, because technically you cannot control tomorrow anyway. Today is all you have. So here's one thing I want to challenge everybody to do today. Not tomorrow, not later on, the moment we stop here. And as a matter of fact, while you on here, start thinking about it. Have a goal of how many QAs or business overviews you will be setting for this week, right? When we have our blitz today, right? The one thing, sorry, my laptop is about to die. The one, I forgot to plug it in this morning. You know, when we have our blitz today at 11 o'clock, go in with an expectation or a goal of how many you're going to set. Now, how do you determine that? How do you determine how many appointments you should set? It should be based on your goal. You can tell yourself that you have a goal of writing 5 sales and schedule 2 appointments. It's not going to happen. So when you have your goal set, if your goal is to set up to have 5 sales at the end of the month, the rule of thumb is you have to have 5 sales or 5 QAs set up weekly. Why? Because half reschedule and cancel, and you will close half of that. So understand those numbers and live by those numbers. So have a goal for today. on QAs and business overviews.